So let's take a look at this first video.
Hi there. You can either respect my trans homies, or I can identify as a f***ing problem. And if I catch your bitch ass being disrespectful, your pronouns are going to be was, were. Thank you for coming, and have a nice day.
Okay, I have one thing to say about this, and I've talked about this in a video about I don't know if it was about being sociopath or I think it was about narcissistic personality disorder, and it was about how people, when they smile without their eyes, that's what this person was doing here. They were
it's terrifying.
Like they have no emotion and they're just using their mouthpiece. Like it feels like a robot.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody else on the side is telling them what to say, and it's just coming through them.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming from the outside, and it's coming through them and out of their mouth. Like, it's not actually coming from them, it's coming from somewhere else.
And of course, they use like the robotic sound effect on their voice. And there's something weird about the notion that you can threaten people into accepting you. Like,
right.
I don't know about you, but when somebody threatens me, I become like less likely to want to give them what they want.
Exactly. And it is a major problem, and a major difference between people like you and I and the old gays versus this new queer movement, right? I think I did a video on that, but it's a really important point I make about, and I list the reasons. Like, these are all the ways, like, these are things that the LGBT people did, and these are the things that the queers are doing, and how different they are. It's like, we just want to be accepted versus accept us, bigot. Like, very, very different.
Yeah. And didn't you also get a video taken down from TikTok for using the word queer?
Yes. Posted a video, one of the first videos I posted as well on TikTok, and it said something about the difference between queers and LGBs or LGBTs, and that got taken down.
Of course.
Even though everybody and their mother who is not actually queer calls themselves queer on that app.
When they do it, it's fine. But when we mention it, criticizing them, it's hate speech.
It's hate speech.
Right.
What's that like new singer or whatever, the person that's like, I'm queer, and they're like sitting there with their boyfriend. That video that went viral. I don't know who it is.
Do you know what makes me special? I'm a queer. And I'm a...
But I have seen a lot of that. Is that from the Eurovision thing?
Yes.
Well, we can put that clip in here, but it's literally a female with her boyfriend. She's like, I'm queer.
I'm queer. Like, no, you're not. Like, you're not. You like dressing up in goth and makeup, and you have a boyfriend. Like, maybe you bang chicks on the side or something, but like, just because you look different doesn't mean you're queer, sweetheart. Like, stop appropriating that label.
I mean, there are, I guess the only exception would be bisexual people, but
if she's bi, but she's like touting her boyfriend around everywhere, so
yeah,
visually not queer.
There's just something wrong when you have people wanting to opt in to a group, but then also claiming it's a marginalized group. Like, which is it?
Exactly. Exactly.
Right. So, Arielle, do you think that asexuals can be lesbians?
No.
Well, you're wrong and problematic. So take a listen to this person who's going to educate you.
How can somebody be asexual and a lesbian? Well... Much like the bi umbrella and the trans umbrella, asexuality is its own umbrella too. Meaning, it's a spectrum. There are literally tons of different identities under the asexual umbrella. Just because someone identifies as asexual doesn't mean they're exactly the same as every asexual person in the world. Some asexual friends feel no sexual or romantic attraction, but still want to be in a partnership with someone because who wants to do life by themselves? And then you have demisexual friends who also fall under the asexual umbrella, who don't experience sexual attraction until they can form a bond with someone and get to know them. Every asexual person is different. Some might want to be in relationships or partnerships, and some might not. But they still love who they love. Some asexual people might identify as a woman and only want to be with women. Some might identify as a man and only want to be with men. Some are non-binary. Asexual friends can identify as any identity if they want to and feel most comfy at doing so. And be with whoever they want. And at the end of the day, no matter what, we love our asexual friends! Yeah!
Okay, there's a number of reasons I dislike this person, and it's gonna sound so mean. And the first reason has nothing to do with what they say, but the way they say it. Every time this person opens their mouth, they go, like as they're like it's so, I can't with it.
The whole tone is structured like you're speaking to toddlers.
And also the fact that they, like every third word, they have to stop and like restart filming. Like, are you that dumb that you can't like form a coherent thought more than 3 words without needing to like cut? So
I mean, clearly yes.
Clearly yes, but you know, I can't say that.
I just, to me, look, I have no problem with asexual people. Like, if you don't want to, if you're not sexually attracted to people and you don't want to be with anybody, like that doesn't affect me. Yeah. Live your life. But the idea that you can be that and also a lesbian, it's like you're telling me 2 + 2 = 5, and I'm just supposed to accept that.
The whole reason lesbians did not and do not in some places still have equal rights is not because of their romantic orientation. It's because of their sexual orientation.
And if you don't have a sexual orientation,
right, then you're asexual and you're not a lesbian. Like, and that's okay, but you can't be two. You can't be both. Like, but they want pick a struggle. Pick a struggle.
In the name of pick a struggle. In the name of tolerance, they want to make everyone accept every possible combination of labels, and it's like they don't seem to realize that in the process they're diluting the labels of any meaning and therefore any legitimacy.
Correct. So they're trying to be so exclusive. They're trying to be so inclusive. They wind up being exclusive.
Right, and it ends up like the problem is that average people will leave you alone, but if you just keep throwing ideas at them that are incoherent and frustrating, they're not going to accept them or want to embrace them. They're going to be like, what's all this nonsense, right? And so the more you confuse people, like I can't even follow some of these alphabet TikTokers with the videos they make. I'm trying to do the math and it just does not compute in my head, and I'm part of this community. Really, it's a category, but whatever. And I can't even keep up. Like the demisexual thing, you're not sexually attracted to somebody until you form an emotional bond. I mean, that's not the same thing as a sexual orientation.
No, it's not. Like, by that definition, I'm kind of demisexual, but I don't walk around telling people I'm demisexual and a lesbian and this and that. It's like, no, I'm just a lesbian. Like, most of the time, I walk around and I can find people attractive, but it's not like I don't get sexually turned on immediately until I like get to know them.
But that's just a woman.
That's just a woman thing most of the time.
Okay, I was about to say that you can yell at me if this is misogynistic or sexist.
No, that's generally just a woman.
But I feel like demisexual is just describing how many women, maybe most
of us, yes,
experience sexual attraction, which is like it's part of a bond. Whereas men, it's either like into it or not. Instantly, you can tell for most people.
Yeah. Yes, and that's true. That's why that's why apps that gay men use very different than the types of apps that lesbians tend to gravitate towards.
Yeah,
you guys just have photos and stats. We have prompts. We have voice memos. Like we have like charts, astrology, all these things. Oh, she's a Sagittarius. I don't know about that. Like, you know. We go deep, basically.
Whereas with guys on Grindr, it's just somebody taps you.
Yeah, top, bottom, 10-inch, dominant, whatever. Okay, all right, cool. Like, you know what you want. That's not how women are, bro. Like, we're not like that.
No, but the thing is, like, nobody has ever been marginalized from society because they
didn't want to
emotionally connect with somebody before finding them sexually attractive. It's like, it doesn't belong. One of these things is not like the other. And the more nonsense you attach to this, the more you weigh the ship down, the more you lose legitimacy.
Yes, exactly.
All right, let's roll. We've got our friend here who would struggle to go through a metal detector. Let's take a listen.
So this might be confusing for some people. So like I use he, him pronouns, right? But I don't identify as a man. But I'm trans. am trans and non-binary. And I feel dysphoric about my body sometimes, like my curves and my butt. But at the same time, I like my boobs. Like, that's fine.
See, I just feel bad for these kids. Especially
this
because
girl, this person, I feel, I don't want to say girl, but like, yeah. But
well,
like,
it's a girl.
I genuinely feel bad for this person. Yeah, it's a girl. I feel bad for this person. I don't get the same narcissistic vibes while listening to her as I do other videos that we've seen.
She is actually autistic and has that in her profile. Yes.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And I've done a video about that and how the majority of these queer, neurodivergent, whatever, asymmetrical people. I don't know why I said that, but it's kind of true. Asymmetrical type people are identifying as all these other genders. So many of them are autistic.
Right, it's actually a symptom of autism to feel discomfort with your gender, but it does not mean you have long-term gender dysphoria or that you are actually transsexual, but they get confused and they think that it is, and it's fed to them as this solution, but clearly it's not, because this person ends up in this confused and muddled place where they want to go by he, him, but they're also not a man. They don't want to be a woman. They have body dysphoria about their curves, but not about some of their curves. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And it must be really hard to feel like that, be that mixed up inside. And so my heart breaks for this young woman. I'm not I don't want to roast her the way I do some of them. I feel bad
for this person.
I feel bad.
It doesn't make it any easier that there's new labels coming out every day. And I'm sure that they're going to focus on those new labels and say, well, maybe this is going to be the answer. Maybe this one is what I'm feeling. Maybe this is.
Why don't I click? Why don't I connect? Why am I missing cues? Like, why do I feel like I don't fit in? Oh, it must be because I'm this label. It's like 100%. It's giving them this false hope that's never going to come true.
This is the answer. That's right. It's not the answer. It's just not. No matter what you feel or think or other people see you as, none of those things are actually true anyway.
So speaking of feeling bad for people, sometimes I do feel bad for the alphabet people who've drank the Kool-Aid and fallen for the propaganda, because they end up in this place where they're like needlessly terrified and they are, you know, almost scared of their own shadow. And that's the category that this person in the final video seems to fall into. So take a listen to this.
So I'm gonna go on a little bit of a rant here, because you know what sucks? It was recently Mother's Day, and my mother is one of the sweetest, kindest, and most supportive and accepting people I've ever met and I've ever known. And I love her greatly. As I've become an adult, she and I have become closer than ever because of some shared experiences in life. But I live in Texas. Now, I live in a very liberal and accepting part of Texas, and I am very lucky to do so. Where I grew up, where my mom lives, is nothing like that. So, guess who did not get to go home and visit their mother for Mother's Day? Me. I had to settle for calling her. Now, we talked for a good hour, but we caught up. But this sucks. That I don't feel safe going back to visit my mom. No matter how much I feel like I pass or do not pass, it doesn't matter. There's a fear there now. And that's not cool. That's just something I wanted to say, I guess.
Okay, so basically what this person is saying is the equivalent of everyone thinking that everyone's don't say gay in Florida kind of thing.
Or that they're going to be hate crimed or killed or something like that.
Right, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Like, don't say gay. Everyone's going to... And you can't even go to Florida because you can't even say gay there. Never mind step foot in it. Meanwhile, I was at Miami Pride. I was at Orlando Pride, St. Pete Pride, Tampa Pride, Pensacola Pride, in the Panhandle, right next to Alabama. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody gives a shit.
And it's sad.
It's sad that this person is missing out on really, really important days. And
I feel bad for the mom.
Yeah. And life experiences. And listen, like, not everybody has their mom Not everybody has their dad on Father's Day, and people, videos like this really upset me for that reason. And it's upsetting that somebody lets their ideology deeply affect them so much that you can't even get on a plane because you feel like your own safety is like, first of all, you're probably going to go to the airport, sit in the plane. Nobody's going to bother you because most of these planes have like things set in, like they have standards set in place for nobody to be, harassed. You're going to get picked up from the airport by your parents, probably. Driven to the house. Driven to that. What'd you say?
Yeah, you'll go to their house.
You'll go to their house. You're safe. Like, you're safe. Like, what is the issue?
There is no issue. The real issue? It only exists in this person's head, and the fact that they've drank the Kool-Aid and read, alarmist media reports and all that.
Right.
But I just recently checked the numbers again, and it is still true that the homicide rate in this country for transgender people is below the average. It's not above the average. There is no epidemic of murders of trans people. When you see that from the LGBT groups, it is a lie. It is cherry-picked examples and anecdotes that are, of course, really sad. It's sad when anybody's killed, but they use it to spin a narrative as if people are like, they're being hunted or something, is literally the way they talk about it. So it's not surprising that random people out there internalize that messaging and go through life scared. But it's really unfortunate. And even if you're saying, well, they're not just worried about murder, they're worried about hate crimes. I was just looking at GLAAD's data the other day, and they reported 700 hate incidents, which they define very loosely.
Very vaguely, right.
But like, even if you take that number at face value, relative to the number of LGBT people in America, which is, I think, 13 or 14 million, it's like a tiny number. You're much more likely to die in a car accident than experience one of these hate incidents. So the idea that we have scared a non-insignificant portion of the alphabet community into the point where they're afraid to leave their homes, they're afraid to go out into the world, they're scared of their own shadow based on non-existent realities and fake narratives, is really, it's messed up.
It's wild. And it's upsetting because there's this it's such a drastic difference between, like I said, like we were saying this whole video, right? Like the older LGBT versus the new queer people. Somebody called us a fag or a or whatever back in the day. We might get upset for like a second, but then we're like, all right, piece of like whatever. And then we just like go on with our day. Or if you're a New Yorker, you dish it back, right? You throw it right back real quick. And then they're like, oh, son. And then like, then they respect you. Now, you can't even think differently than these people. Never mind speak negatively towards them, right? And it's just such a drastic difference in not even a way of life, but just way of being, way of existing. And it's just not helpful for these kids.
Yeah, really, I mean, the old gays were like, oh, you want to oppress us? We'll start a riot. The new Gen Z queerlets are like, I can't go there. I might get misgendered.
Literally.